This video is discussing our STEAM project and the cultural artifact part of our STEAM project. You may or may not be able to read this, but just follow along with my voice, and if you can still read it while you're watching the video, that's great too. So you've just become cultural anthropologists. Remember, anthropologists study humans in both the past and the present. Your task is to become a cultural anthropologist, and you're going to research your one specific civilization. You were either assigned the Aztecs, the Inca, or the Mayans. After researching, you're going to become an engineer, and you're going to design a cultural artifact that represents your specific civilization. Remember, we talked about it in our last geography unit about what culture was. Culture is the shared attitudes, knowledge, and behavior of a group. It is the way of life of a certain group of people. Your necessities for the cultural artifact part of your STEAM project are listed right here. First off, you will complete all driving questions on your cultural research. Second, you will choose one category and artifact to design. That'll make more sense when we go down to the driving questions. You will make a blueprint of your artifact. You will then design, build, and create a finished artifact to present at the festival. This can include any materials that you want to include, as long as they're on your blueprint. You will then write a 10 to 12 sentence paper describing the cultural significance of your artifact, how it represents your civilization, and why you chose this artifact. You then also, the one thing that we need to keep in mind, especially after doing our north, south, east, west activity, you need to work cooperatively and productively with your group. One second, we're making sure we have this moved down for us. So right here, part one, are our driving questions for research. So across the top, you see the component of culture / the driving question. Your research. It says you must include 3 to 5 facts in this column about the area of culture that you are researching. So you must have 3 to 5 facts listed right here. Then it says the source. You must list where you got your information from, whether it's a website, a book source, notes from class, or an interview. On the side, our mouse is being funny. One second. For each of the different driving questions, I have listed what component of culture you are researching. So here are 2 examples. You will look through the document all by yourself, but each one is defined. So here's the 2 examples. Language is the spoken or written words of a group of people. What was the language or writing system like for your civilization? So you would put 3 to 5 facts here in this column, and your source right here. Another example is shelter. Shelter is something that protects someone from weather or danger. What was the shelter or homes like for your civilization? Again, 3 to 5 facts, and then over here, you're putting your source. As I'm scrolling down the document, you can see that I have a lot of different areas and components of culture, from clothing, the economy, religion, values, climate, government, and entertainment. So at the top, when I was talking about all the necessities of this project, I said you were going to then choose one component of culture to then design your artifact. So after researching all those different components, let's say you really liked entertainment and that part of culture, you would then right here for part 2 move on to this. You will choose one of those different aspects of culture, so for example entertainment, that you want to focus on. After your group decides what category you're choosing from the culture categories, you will then pick one artifact that you will want to make. So an example that's not related to this project, but it's an area of entertainment, for the Greek gods and the Greek unit, for entertainment you could talk about something that they did for their entertainment in their free time. And you would then create an artifact for that. Before you move on to part 3, you must write 8 facts, pieces of information, or reasons why you are choosing this artifact. So if we were doing ancient Egypt and I wanted my artifact to be a mummy, I would have to say why I'm making a mummy, and I would have to say, give some factual information about mummies, and why our group was choosing this to represent the culture and why it was important to that culture. Part 3, on a piece of construction paper. So, the pieces of paper like this. You will be creating a blueprint. A blueprint is a design plan that is accurately drawn to show what you would want your model, your cultural artifact, to look like. You must have this colored, labeled, and you must write down what materials you are using to do your artifact. Part 4, after you finish your blueprint, you are designing and building your artifact. Using your blueprint, you will design it and build it. You must make sure it's accurate, colorful, and represents your civilization. This is the fun part, the creation part, the designing part, the part where you're becoming an engineer. And then part 5, your paper. You must write 10 to 12 sentences talking about your artifact that you designed and created. You must write about what component of culture this artifact comes from. For example, if it was entertainment, or if it was religion, or if it was shelter. How this artifact represents your civilization, and why your group chose to design the artifact that you created. Why did you choose this area of entertainment versus another area of entertainment? Be descriptive and specific, just like I make you do for your daily Sparks. Once you finish everything, you need to look back at this rubric to see if you're going to get full credit for what you have completed. For this rubric, on the video, I am only going to go over what your group needs to do to get a 5, because I expect us all to be looking and aiming for 4s and 5s. You can read through all the requirements for all the different columns to see what you need to be doing to get all the different amounts of points. So for a 5 for research, you're using your research to actually guide the design of your cultural artifact. You must make sure your project has been fully researched with multiple sources, not all from just one website or book, and you can use online resources or other rich data collection sources. For the blueprint and final product of the artifact for a 5, you must make sure it's an extremely accurate model of the blueprint. That means you know every single material that's on there. It's drawn almost to scale. You are making sure, positively sure, that if you put a material on your blueprint, you're using that material in your final product. Your final product accurately represents the component of culture and the civilization. So that means if you're doing entertainment, then I shouldn't see a religious cultural artifact. You need to pick one component and then how that represents your culture. Obviously, many different artifacts could represent your culture, but you're going to pick one from one component of culture and have to explain specifically why that does a great job representing your civilization. Paper from part 5. The paper is an extremely well-written paper that addresses all the ideas. For this part of the rubric, you will have to look back up at part 5 to answer the 3 questions that are part of this part of the rubric. You need to make sure to look back up there. And then for organization and creativity, for all the different aspects, the paper, the research, and the blueprint and final product, the group has an extremely neat and orderly blueprint and final product. The group is extremely creative in their design and paper. That means you're not just writing down, little things here and there. You're going specific, examples, descriptive. You're making me feel as if I'm staring at it right there, even though I'm not right there with you. Good luck and have fun.